Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Emma Daily Podcast. I'm Emma, the place where real conversations help you speak English with more confidence, one episode at a time.
Hi, everyone. Hi, Emma. I'm Michael. We're really happy you're here today. Whether you're having your morning coffee, driving to work, taking a walk, or simply enjoying a quiet moment, thank you for spending this time with us.
Michael, can I ask you something?
Of course, your questions always make me think a little deeper.
Good, because today's question might change the way you think about learning English.
Now I'm curious. What is it?
Have you ever finished watching an English video and thought, I understood almost everything, but later when it was your turn to speak, nothing came out?
Honestly, yes. It's a frustrating feeling. You know the words, you understand the conversation, but when you want to answer, your mind suddenly goes quiet.
Exactly. And after that, many people start believing something that isn't true.
They tell themselves, maybe I'm just not good at English.
But what if that's not the real problem?
Then what is?
What if your English isn't weak, your confidence just hasn't had enough real practice yet?
Wow, I think a lot of people needed to hear that.
Because confidence doesn't appear one morning by magic. It grows through small, real conversations, one sentence at a time.
And that's exactly what today's episode is about.
Today, we're not going to memorize long vocabulary lists or study complicated grammar rules.
Instead, we're going to discover something much more valuable.
You'll hear natural conversations, learn useful words you'll actually remember, and notice how confident English speakers think and express themselves in everyday life.
And here's something I'd love you to remember while you're listening. You don't have to understand every single word to make real progress. Sometimes one useful expression, one new idea, or even one small change in the way you practice can completely change your confidence.
So if you've ever felt nervous before speaking English,
If you've ever translated every sentence in your head,
or if you've ever thought, I know more English than I can actually speak,
then stay with us. Because somewhere in today's conversation, you may discover the one idea that finally makes English feel more natural.
so take a deep breath, relax, and simply enjoy the conversation. By the end of this episode, I hope you'll leave with more than just new English words. I hope you'll leave believing that becoming a confident English speaker is much closer than you think.
Let's begin.
Michael, have you ever noticed something interesting?
What is it?
So many people keep saying, I'll be happy when.
Oh, yes. I think I've said that more times than I can count.
Me too. I'll be happy when I get a better job. I'll be happy when life gets easier. I'll be happy when I finally speak English fluently.
I know that feeling. It sounds hopeful, but somehow that when keeps moving farther away.
Exactly. And that's where many of us get stuck. We keep waiting for one big moment to change everything while quietly missing the small moments that are already changing us.
That's such an interesting thought. It's almost like climbing to the top of a mountain only to see another one waiting for you.
That's a beautiful way to describe it. When I was younger, I honestly believed happiness would arrive all at once. One perfect day, everything would finally make sense.
And do you still believe that?
Not anymore. Now I think the most meaningful moments in life are usually the quiet ones. Can I tell you about yesterday?
Of course, I love your stories.
Nothing extraordinary happened. I didn't achieve a big goal. I didn't receive exciting news. It was just an ordinary morning. I made myself a cup of coffee, opened the window, and for a few peaceful minutes, I simply listened to the birds outside. That's all. But somehow, it became my favorite moment of the day.
You know what? I think many people would call that an ordinary morning, but somehow it doesn't sound ordinary at all.
Because I almost missed it. If I had been thinking only about tomorrow or worrying about everything I still hadn't done, I probably wouldn't even remember that moment.
That reminds me of something that happened to me last week.
Really? Tell us.
I was walking home after work. Honestly, I felt tired. My mind was full of deadlines, messages, and all the little problems that seemed so important. Then, without really thinking, I looked up. The sky was glowing with shades of orange, pink, and gold. I actually stopped walking for a minute. No phone, no music, no distractions. I just stood there.
How did it make you feel?
Surprisingly calm. My problems didn't disappear, but for a few moments, they stopped feeling so heavy.
I think that's what hope often feels like. Not because everything suddenly becomes perfect, but because life quietly reminds you that beautiful moments still exist.
Emma, can I ask you something?
Always.
Why do we miss these moments so easily?
Because our minds are usually living somewhere else. We're thinking about tomorrow, next week, next year, or the next big goal. Meanwhile, today quietly slips away.
That's true. Sometimes we're so busy chasing a better future that we forget today's small moments are already helping us become the person we want to be.
And I think the same thing happens when people learn English.
What do you mean?
Many learners keep saying, I'll start speaking confidently when I know more words. I'll speak when my grammar is perfect. I'll speak when I stop making mistakes. But confidence doesn't suddenly appear one day. It grows during these small moments, one conversation, one new expression, one sentence at a time.
I really hope everyone listening remembers that, because if you've already understood this conversation, you're probably much closer than you think.
And in just a moment, we're going to discover why noticing small moments can completely change not only the way you see life, but also the way you learn English. Let's keep going.
Emma, I keep thinking about something you just said. Maybe hope doesn't always arrive in big moments. Maybe it quietly grows inside the small ones we almost miss.
I think you're right. And the same thing happens with learning English. Most people think confidence arrives all at once, but it doesn't. It grows quietly, one small conversation at a time.
Can I ask you something?
Always.
Michael, do you think confidence is something we find or something we build?
Honestly, I think it's both. Sometimes one encouraging moment gives us hope, but most of the time we build confidence little by little, one sentence, one conversation, one brave moment after another.
What makes you believe that?
Think about a sunrise. It never appears all at once. First, the sky becomes a little brighter, then a little brighter, and before you even notice, the whole world is filled with light.
I love that. So confidence is a little like a sunrise.
Exactly. It doesn't need to arrive quickly. It doesn't need to be loud. It simply grows as long as you keep showing up every day.
You know, I used to believe that becoming fluent meant never making mistakes.
Really?
Yes, every mistake felt like proof that I wasn't good enough. But now I see mistakes very differently. Every mistake is simply one more step towards speaking more naturally.
I hope everyone listening remembers that. Because if you're waiting to become perfect before you start speaking, you might wait forever. Real confidence begins the moment you decide, it's okay if I make mistakes. I'm still learning.
That's such a freeing thought.
Can I tell you something that happened a few months ago?
Of course.
I was having one of those weeks where everything felt heavy. Nothing terrible happened, but nothing felt easy either. I felt tired, a little unmotivated, and honestly, I didn't even feel like practicing English.
I think everyone has weeks like that.
Exactly. So after work, I decided to go for a short walk. Not because I wanted exercise, I just needed some quiet. As I walked, I noticed children laughing together, an older couple holding hands, someone smiling at their dog. People were simply living their ordinary lives.
How did that make you feel?
Lighter. It reminded me that not every day has to be exciting to be meaningful. Sometimes peace is enough. Sometimes one quiet moment is enough to help you begin again.
You know, I think learning English feels exactly like that. Some days you learn 10 new words. Some days you only remember one. But that one word still moves you forward.
Exactly. Never underestimate small progress. One useful phrase today, another tomorrow, and one day you'll surprise yourself by speaking naturally.
Michael, have you ever noticed how children learn?
What do you mean?
Give a child a simple cardboard box and suddenly it's a spaceship, a castle, or a pirate ship. They aren't afraid to imagine. They aren't afraid to be wrong.
That's true. Children don't stop playing because they might make mistakes. They simply keep trying.
Maybe that's something English learners can learn from children. Speak first, smile, make mistakes, keep going.
I couldn't agree more. And in the next part, I want to share something that completely changed the way I think about hope and the way I think about learning English. Let's keep going.
Emma, listening to your story made me realize something.
What's that?
Some of my favorite memories aren't the expensive ones. They're not the biggest ones either. They're surprisingly ordinary.
Really? Like what?
Cooking dinner with my family, watching the rain through the window with a warm cup of coffee, laughing so hard with friends that my stomach hurt, reading a good book on a quiet afternoon, learning one new English expression that I actually remembered the next day. And honestly, recording these podcast episodes with you.
Aw, I was hoping you'd say that.
Of course, because every episode reminds me that small conversations can make a big difference, not only in English, but in life too.
I think that's the secret. We spend so much time waiting for extraordinary moments that we forget ordinary moments are quietly creating our lives.
That's true. Life isn't made of only a few big memories. It's built from thousands of tiny ones we almost overlook.
Exactly. And those little moments deserve our attention, just like those small English sentences you practice every day. They may feel tiny today, but one day they'll become real conversations.
Michael, can I ask you one more question?
Always.
What if someone listening right now feels like they've lost hope? Or maybe they've started believing they'll never speak English confidently. What would you say to them?
I tell them not to wait for one huge sign that everything will suddenly become easy. Instead, look for one small reason to keep going. One smile, one kind conversation, one beautiful sunrise, one page of a good book, one useful English phrase, one podcast episode that gives you a little more confidence than yesterday. Sometimes that's enough to begin again.
That reminds me of learning English.
Really? How?
Nobody becomes fluent overnight. One conversation won't change everything. One podcast won't make you fluent. But if you keep listening, keep speaking, keep making mistakes, and keep believing in yourself, one day you'll stop and realize, wow, I can actually do this now.
I love that comparison. Hope grows that way, and so does confidence. One small step doesn't change your whole life, but hundreds of small steps absolutely can.
I think I'm finally starting to understand. Hope isn't something we wait for. It's something we notice. And confidence isn't something we're born with. It's something we build, little by little, every single day.
Beautifully said. And maybe today's conversation has already given someone listening their first small step.
I really hope so.
Before we finish today's conversation, I think it's time for your favorite part.
You already know me.
Of course I do. Let's slow down for a moment and explore a few useful English words from today's conversation. These are the kinds of words you'll hear in real life, and once you understand them, you'll start noticing them everywhere.
I can't wait. Every time we do this, I feel like the conversation becomes even more useful.
Then let's begin with our first word. Our next word is perspective.
I've heard that word many times, but I've never been completely sure what it means.
Perspective is the way you see or understand a situation. Sometimes changing your perspective changes how you feel.
So instead of saying I'm behind, I could say I'm still growing. That's a different perspective.
Exactly. Here's another example. Traveling gives me a new perspective on life.
I like that. Sometimes the problem doesn't change, our perspective does.
Our third word is serendipity.
Wow, that's a beautiful word and a difficult one.
It is, but it's worth learning. Serendipity means finding something good completely by accident, a happy surprise.
Oh, like finding a wonderful little cafe while getting lost.
Exactly. Or meeting your best friend by chance. For example, it was pure serendipity that we met on the train.
I love that. Life needs a little serendipity.
Our fourth word is solace.
That sounds very elegant.
It is. Solace means comfort or peace during a difficult time.
So, a good conversation can bring solace.
Exactly. Music, nature, family, friends, or even a quiet walk can bring solace. For example, she found solace in listening to music every evening.
I think today's episode has been about finding solace in ordinary moments.
Beautifully said. And our final word today is my favorite, illuminate.
I love the sound of that word. What does it mean?
Literally, it means to light something up. Figuratively, it means to make something clearer or brighter.
So, an idea can illuminate your thinking.
Exactly. Or one kind person can illuminate your day. For example, her smile illuminated the whole room.
That's such a beautiful word.
Before we finish, let's do a quick review together.
Resilient. Keep going even through difficult times.
Perspective, the way you see a situation.
Serendipity. A happy surprise you never expected.
Solace, comfort during hard times.
And illuminate. To bring light, hope, or understanding.
Wonderful. These are real English words you'll hear in conversations, books, podcasts, and everyday life.
And don't worry if you can't remember every word today. Every time you listen, every time you practice, those words become a little more natural.
Exactly. Learning English isn't about being perfect. It's about showing up every day, one conversation, one new word, and one small step at a time.
Before we say goodbye, we'd love to leave you with one simple reminder. Practice English every single day. Even if it's only for 10 minutes, those small daily habits build real confidence. And confident speakers aren't the people who never make mistakes. They're the people who keep speaking anyway.
That's beautifully said. Now, we'd love to hear from you. How did you like today's episode? What was your favorite part? And which new word are you excited to use in real life?
Leave your answer in the comments. And if there's a topic you'd like us to talk about in our next episode, let us know. Your ideas help us create conversations that make learning English easier and more enjoyable for everyone.
If today's conversation helped you, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to Emma Daily Podcast, and share it with a friend who's learning English too.
Thank you so much for spending your time with us today. Keep practicing, keep believing in yourself, and keep building your confidence one day at a time.
We'll see you in the next episode.
Until then, take care, keep speaking English, and bye for now.
Bye, everyone.